Hi friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name is host Eric, and on this video I'm going to discuss the ISTP INFJ relationship.
Talking with famous people. With various plans all about, various deeds underway.
Obviously, every relationship is defined by the individuals within it, and the individuals within it, their compatibility is only somewhat determined by their typology compatibility. There are plenty of other factors, plenty of other particulars factors. So if you're happy in your relationship, don't allow some typologist on the internet to tell you to not be happy, okay?
Wary of every doubt that it's scary, but that's about all you can say.
I explore this issue of ISTP INFJ compatibility on three angles of analysis. The first one being what it looks like if it's successful. The second one being what it looks like if it fails. And the third one being which of those two is it more likely to be and why.
With various plans all about, various deeds underway.
What does it look like when it succeeds? Well, when it succeeds, you've got two people who are into the same kind of things as a hobby or activity. They are called activity partners in socionics for a reason. And it's because the first and third slot are both absolute values, and they're the same absolute values for both partners. So ISTP, absolute value TI dominant, and absolute value NI third. These are the voluntary or conscious values that the ISTP embraces. They try to score points on NI grounds, and they're ready to be the sort of referee of all TI matters, you know. So each of them provides for the other partner, provided they're a healthy, loving partner, and a form in which the partner's values don't get invalidated. The ISTP is never going to say the frame of reference, fairness, and argumentation is wrong. So if the INFJ is requiring fairness via words from the ISTP and they're healthy, and in fact the INFJ is right, which they probably are, then the ISTP will provide those words to make them feel a sense of justice or whatever. If the INFJ is healthy, then the INFJ will validate those instances of NI in which the ISTP notes something, says something, concludes something that provides clarity in a useful or desirable way. Establishes what's more relevant than something else, or what's the most relevant factor. The 2-4. They're both instrumental values, but in both instances, the parties are well set up to provide a little boost in the fourth slot for their partner, which people generally like. In other words, we tend to accept help in our fourth slot function. We tend to be self-deprecating in it, and we tend to think, that's really somebody else's job. So SE Tool is going to want to do things, not just sit around and soak up media with your NI. They're going to want to do things, and INFJ is really going to appreciate that being included in more outgoing kind of activities, provided the ICP doesn't overdo it. And concurrently, the INFJ is going to provide that second slot FE that's going to help smooth things over for the ICP, who's kind of direct and blunt, and that can be very, very gratifying and useful for both partners in that regard. So if it works, it looks like two people who are primarily engaging with each other on their front stack functions. The circumstances are well set up so they don't have to be pushed into their back stack functions very much, and they're not really examining their own feelings that much because neither of them are FI front stack.
Wary of every doubt that it's scary, but that's about all you can say.
Now, what does it look like if it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work, then the parties in the relationship, either because of dynamics within the relationship or because of external factors, are required to use their back slot functions a lot more. Now, the fifth slot function of each party, the ISTP and the INFJ, is the way in which each party validates other people in the world. It's a pass-fail metric on your fifth slot. You don't have to have the other person doesn't have to have a shit ton of your fifth slot, but they have to have at least meow. And if they don't, you don't respect them. The problem is the 5-7. So ISTPs, they have TE in the fifth slot, and so they look to see if they respect other people by seeing if they have at least meow amount of TE. Well, INFJ doesn't have that amount. INFJ, fifth slot, extroverted intuition. They respect other people based on whether they have at least meow amount of extroverted intuition, at least they say enough interesting new things frequently enough. Well, ISTP doesn't do that. So they don't validate on each other's fifth thought functions. They don't really respect each other. Whether or not that's a problem depends on how much friction there is in the going abouts of daily living between the two. But in this scenario, we're imagining that it's not working. So we're presuming that both parties are erring significantly enough on the other's fifth thought function to trigger a sort of conscious awareness, like, I don't respect that. All right, now let's look at the other contributing factor to why it doesn't work is because of the 6-8. So the sixth thought function of the ISTP is demonstrative. When pressured by the world to demonstrate something beyond TI and SE, the sixth thought of the ISTP is SI. They demonstrate SI. The thing is, the INFJ only wants their SI to be in service of their NI, and they don't like anybody else messing with their SI. So to the extent that the INFJ is unhappy with what the ISTP is providing and says provide something different, they're going to provide SI, which is not what the INFJ wants. And same thing with the ISTP and INFJ in reverse. So when the ISTP wants, you need to do more than this, INFJ partner, the INFJ is going to give them FI. But the ISTP is just going to be made mad by that. They're going to be like, don't put your FI arbitrariness on this shit. And neither of them validated consciously, so they're going to be kind of at a loss. So when it doesn't work, then you've got people who either because of particular conflict between the two of them or because of circumstances outside of them are compelled frequently to demonstrate their sixth thought function and are circumstantially presented with situations in which they fail to demonstrate their polar function. And these things cause a mutual lack of respect and discord between the two people, eventually causing them to break up. Now,
With various plans all about, various deeds underway.
the third angle of analysis. Which one is correct? Well, I would say that more the first one. It's a pretty good relationship. It's quite likely to work. It's perhaps the third or fourth best for INFJ and ISTP both. In my understanding, the best partner for INFJ is ENTP. A little bit self-serving perhaps, but that's what I think. In my opinion, the best partner for ISTP is ENFJ. But that INFJ partnership is not a bad substitute. It's just that they just keep kind of failing to see eye to eye whenever there's difficulties. When things are easy, it'll be easy. When things are difficult, it'll be really difficult. So I think ultimately, because life is the way it is and people experience difficulties and not everything's easy, that most relationships of activity partners have a shelf life. Thanks for watching. I wish you all the best in your relationship, whether I validate it typologically or not. Okay? If you're happy, remember that's all that matters.
Talking with famous people.